I wanted to just quickly cover some of my different settings that I have in Photoshop. If you're trying to follow along with my tutorials and you're wondering why maybe your interface doesn't look the same as mine, um, it's probably because I've changed some defaults. So let me go in here and just show you my settings here. The biggest, for me, the biggest one is use legacy free transform. Now, I've been using Photoshop. I've been a graphic designer for over a decade, so I've been using Photoshop for at least that long. And this used to be the way that you transform, and it's the way that I'm most used to. You don't have to do this by any means, but if you are following along with the tutorials and you're wondering how I'm doing things so quickly, this is one of the biggest indicators of that. Now, yours might look differently. I would suggest you just kind of line this video up along with your version of Photoshop and just see what's different. And you might just have to try it out. And then inside of the actual document itself, one of the other things that is usually ticked on if you don't use Photoshop a lot is the show transform tools and the auto select. This just means that when you click on a layer, it lets you actually go straight to the layer. I prefer to have a little bit more control. So if you have this unchecked, you have to hold Command to then select it. What that helps you do is not accidentally select things that, like for instance, if I was just clicking around here, if I click here, it doesn't do anything. But if I have this auto select turned on, it's going to select that background. So it just kind of helps you not to accidentally move things that you don't want to move. This might be a feature for you though. So feel free to keep it locked in. It just doesn't fit into my workflow, but it might work for you. The other thing is the show transform tools. I typically like to have a preview of what my images look like without having to, click in some random area so that the transform controls aren't there. But that might work for you. So even if we don't do anything inside of here on these tools, I still recommend that you select the legacy transform, because when you select these things, it's more intuitive to transform with the keyboard shortcuts than it is initially. If you don't have that selected, you have to hold a bunch of keyboard shortcuts in order to get it to transform the way you want. For instance, if I want it to transform from the center, all I have to do is hold Option and drag. And so this lets you do any number of things. If I want it to keep its same shape, I would just hold Shift, and that lets me resize it without affecting the actual aspect ratio of it, which might be important, if you're trying to keep the same ratio and you don't want anything to change within that. And then another kind of just tip I'm just going to throw in here. If you select these, the reason I use Artboards is because it allows you to use these align tools. So at the very top, if you have your move tool selected, which is V on your keyboard, then it'll let you center this like perfectly every time. So for instance, that one was a little bit off, you could see. And then, so this centers vertically, this centers horizontally, or one way or the other. And then another thing you can do, and when I move the canvas, I'm just holding space and then clicking and dragging. So another thing you can do is hold, I don't know how to do it with this, but I would hold Shift, and then you can click multiple layers. You can see it selecting these in the layers panel. And then you can group those by hitting Command G, and then that will let you move them as a group. That way you don't have to, individually move them if you like the spacing between. And then if you don't want to keep them in a group anymore, you can hit Command Shift G. I know I'm getting a little bit more technical probably than you would like, but I think it's important to kind of just mess around with some of these tools, because the more proficient you get in it, the better it's going to be long term. And the more keyboard shortcuts you learn, trust me, it saves you so much time over the course of however many times you use it. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Hopefully you gain something from this. But really the biggest push I can give to you is open up Photoshop and just try. Just try things. If you mess up or you're not quite sure what to do, then just reach out and I'll do my best to give an answer or give some help. So hopefully that helps give a little bit of context as to my current workflow, and hopefully that impacts you.